Hey y'all, welcome back to Relinquish TV. Today we're talking self-care.
Self-love is the best love. Okay, I tried.
Love. I forgot the rest of the words.
Yeah, that had nothing to do with, yeah, okay. We're talking about self-care this episode. Obviously, I definitely do believe that a part of self-love is, making sure that you have self-care as well too. Because if you love yourself, you're going to take time with yourself, learn yourself, and know what things you like to do to find peace within yourself. And I think one thing, it's kind of funny that it took quarantine for a lot of us to learn to spend time with ourselves, to actually actively spend time with ourselves. It's kind of funny, we had to be forced to, be shut in to finally realize, what we like to do.
Well, sometimes, if you spending that much time with yourself, you realize, okay, well, I got some stuff to work on, and some of it is just, I don't spend enough time resting. Yeah. I know that was one of the things I realized. I didn't spend time with myself.
So is that kind of the reason why you created the space downstairs? You feel like you need an area of rest?
I will say this, I always wanted a space within our home, and I just assumed, okay, I'm gonna have to wait till we get to our next house where we have more bedrooms. I'm able to convert one of those.
Always on that waiting shit.
Exactly. And I will say that if anything, just when quarantine happened, it just happened to make me see no, I really need this part of the house and I really would like that, so let's make it happen. No more excuses. So that's pretty much where that came from. We didn't use the dining room.
Yeah.
Literally the most, everything downstairs for us was pointless. Because we don't spend any time down here. So I'm just one, that's a shame. And then two, I think I just got tired of always being in the bedroom. I'm always in the room, and usually Thaddeus is in our little den area, because he's got his game, his PlayStations and all that, or excuse me, his gaming station.
Well, don't talk about my side chick, the PlayStation, and not talk about my Xbox. My Xbox is my main. Now you gotta make sure to drop the Xbox in there too.
I'm so glad you could set it straight. So anyways, I apologize. I wasn't able to say it the correct way. But my point just being is I needed some other spot in the house that wasn't just the bedroom. I would spend all my time there and in the kitchen. And I was just no, we got to do something different. So with that though, I wanted a place where I could read, I could meditate, I could journal. And honestly, I feel ever since creating this space and spending more time with myself, that I've been able to create a lot more. So I'm super grateful, to really have finally taken the time to take myself seriously and do that for myself. Yeah. What does self-care look like for you as a Black man?
I think that, I'm gonna first target the black man part, because I think a lot of times as Black men, we don't truly take the time to take care of ourselves. Mm-hmm. A lot of times that we're told, that we're supposed to be providers, we're supposed to be the person, being the breadwinner. So I think a lot of times you spend your life thinking you have to make somebody else happy, that your happiness doesn't matter. So I definitely think for a Black man, self-care is really important. So for me, the kind of things that I like to do with myself, and ultimately, let me take time to say this, the things that I do for my self-care is ultimately for me to have peace. I think a lot of times if you spend so much time, putting out energy, outside in the world, dealing with work every day, being a husband, thinking about things I'm getting prepared to do, in the future, looking to have kids, to be a father. So for me, it can sometimes be draining thinking about all those things, but sometimes I just want to take some time to have some dad time. So for me, it's, reading my manga, reading my comics through there, gaming, playing my Xbox, my PlayStation, playing Madden, 2K, some whatever new adventure games out, taking that time, Grand Theft Auto, doing that. Sometimes, some herbal assistance is helpful too, spend some time with myself that way. But overall, just, kind of doing things that are mindless for me and just let me relax. We spend so much of our day either, A, making money, or B, helping B, taking care of somebody. I want to make sure I take time to myself and enjoy my time.
And I will say that's something that I've always admired about you, is because like you've never not thought really to take care of yourself. Like, of course you've had your moments, like of course where it's like, you know, you've matured over the years, but if anything, I'm very appreciative that like Thaddeus has always told me like there's 24 hours in a day. You have to at least be able to give yourself an hour.
Yeah.
And like an hour, if when you put it into like the grand scheme of things, an hour is so minimal. Like we can definitely do so much better. So I'm grateful for you always encouraging me in that way, just because similar to Black men, you know, thinking and being taught that like their happiness is dependent on how happy they're making somebody else. I would say Black women are often in that same sphere where it's always having to take care of somebody else, and while at the same time also neglecting themselves. And I think that we get that from, I think it's like ancestral, you know, it's deep rooted into our culture, but we can do better. And I feel like I'm at the place where I'm just like, I'm absolutely going and am doing better because we have to, period.
Yeah. I mean, ultimately, something I always thought of, you know, with, just like you said, with the 24 hours a day, I mean, you spend 8 of those hours working, you spend 8 of those hours, you know, sleeping. We're supposed to spend 8 hours sleeping.
Yeah.
That's 16 hours right there. You know, for me, I'm about to take as many of those hours I can to get to myself.
Yeah.
So that's how I feel about it. You know, ultimately, no matter what, you know, you came into this world by yourself. Really, ultimately, when everything else is gone, all you have is yourself. So if you don't take care of yourself, you can't expect nobody else to take care of you better than you take care of you. And I said you a lot in that sentence.
Yeah. It's okay, I think we understood you then.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, just take time for yourself.
And I would say this too, like I think a lot of times when we think of self-care, we think of like you think of like all the stuff you have to do, or do you think about just being?
Neither. I think about doing what Thaddeus wants to do.
Okay. So I feel like though, like we as people, we're always like so task oriented and like, okay, we have to do this, that, and the third. And I feel like sometimes self-care is literally just being.
No, I don't think people, but you're trained to be like that. Like,
yeah.
You don't come to this world thinking, oh, I have to do this, I have to do that. Like, you're trained to think that way. Like,
yeah.
So for me, I really got this from my mother. My mom is always one of the people, if you ever meet my mom, you always gonna realize, Nuana Franklin is going to do what Nuana Franklin wants to do. She don't care, how you think about it, how you feel. You can express your opinion, but ultimately she's going to do what she wants to do. And she used to always tell me, she's like, I have to live this life. You got to live your life. You got to make your own choices. You got to deal with the consequences of those choices, whichever they may be. So she's like, I'm going to make sure I take care of myself because who's going to take care better of me than me?
Yeah, exactly.
And so I've always been like that.
Like, and I mean, it's just like, I can't depend on Thaddeus to take care of me. Like, yes, I am very grateful for, us being able to be, these life partners to one another, but I can't rely on Thaddeus to be like the end all be all for everything for me. Like, it's one, it's not realistic. And then two, the other part is like your mom said, like, literally, I have to be able to take care of myself and I can't just wait on somebody else to do it for me. Yeah. So I think that that's been a huge game changer from that standpoint. Yeah. So
closing note overall, man, take care of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Not only do we mean by that in spending time with yourself, but also too, get some therapy. I know we talked about therapy before. Therapy is definitely something I say is a great way of self-care because ultimately, once you've mastered yourself, there's nothing you can't do. Other than that, catch y'all next time. See ya.
See ya.